Hello and welcome to this special Christmas Eve edition of Compass. I'm Geraldine Doogue, and on behalf of all the team, happy Christmas and compliments of the season to you. Now, at this time of the year, you often hear people complain that Christmas has become too commercialised, that it's lost its spirit. Well, tonight I'm going to meet a group of people putting spirit and a sense of community back into Christmas. They're performing Handel's Messiah to raise money for charity. Tonight we're going to take you behind the scenes to sample the unexpected results when ordinary people sing this great choral work. Every year at Christmas, a choir of 700 people sing Handel's Messiah at Sydney's Town Hall. Everyone hopes for a quality performance. But with an amateur choir, junior soloists and just 9 rehearsals, getting it ready for the big night is always a challenge. Preparations to perform Handel's Messiah begin a few months before, and it's serious business. Every Monday evening, the choir rehearses for 2 solid hours, and attendance is closely monitored.
Thank you. Well, we get our books stamped so that the organisers know how many practices we've attended. We're only allowed to miss, two practices,
yes.
And everyone has to be at rehearsal. They actually have a different stamp for rehearsal, and if you don't have that stamp in your book, you won't be on the platform.
Thank you. Hey guys, how about coming to the front? Come on, up to the front.
Conductor Clive Pascoe runs a tight ship and is tough on his singers. But even with the best intentions, he's worried they won't be ready for the performance.
Welcome, and thank you for coming out again, braving the traffic. It's good to see you. Tonight is probably one of the hardest. It's week 5 of 9, so we just passed the halfway mark, and you're nowhere near ready. Short! There's a lot of new people, and many of those can't read music at all. So they're really struggling with, they're trying to learn notes, so sort of at times it's a few steps backwards. This time, right now, it's probably just a little bit behind where I'd like it to be. See, you mustn't go to that note until I tell you. Not good enough. Stay on the A. Just stay there. And then when I go like that, sing the beat natural would be better. One more time, then I'm going to go and sulk.
He has to be strict because with so many people and we're all amateurs, if he wasn't strict, it just wouldn't work, wouldn't it? It would, he's got to keep the beat going and keep it alive rather than lively, keep it alive.
But at the same time, even though he keeps it tight, it's still fun. And you can come in from work feeling, ugh, but it's still a fun evening.
can you make the blessing a bit blessed? Blessing doesn't do it for me.
For Janice and Carol Summers, singing in Handel's Messiah is much more than just taking part in a performance. It's a family tradition.
Hello. Hello. Oh, you've whipped the cream beautifully.
Good.
Janice and Carol's father conducted the local church choir, and every year at Christmas put on a performance of Messiah.
And basically we weren't allowed to join that until we'd left school.
Yeah, that was the rule. We had to be finished with school before we joined it.
But once we started, that was it.
Yeah, you never stop wanting to sing Handel's Messiah. If you love
that type of
that's
music.
It.
Yeah. Maybe we ought to get him in the orchestra.
I'm sure.
3 generations of the Summers women sing in the choir. Carol and Janice, their Aunt Helen, and Janice's daughter Janelle.
It gets more and more meaningful each year because I understand it more and you just make more connections with it.
I can remember my mother and father being in the choir and singing the Messiah every year. And I think that has grown with me as I've got older.
Even when I wasn't in a choir when the children were young, I used to put a recording on at home because otherwise something was missing. The meaning was missing, and that music, I mean, your heart's just got to soar with that music.
So cross, you're not concentrating. Sing your line, please, sopranos. Ya-ti-ta-ti-am. Over the years, the choirs, I've learned from them that if I'm not really firm, they don't appreciate it. They really are trying to learn something too. They really enjoy that. And so if I put some of the pressures on that I would in a professional setting, they feel better by that. They feel that I'm taking them seriously. And equally, if they if they rise a bit, I've got to praise them. Good on you, fantastic. Come on, give them applause. That's good. Not too much.
Meanwhile, at the Conservatorium of Music, Ben, the tenor soloist, is in a gruelling rehearsal.
Don't believe you. That's better. Yeah, right, now
This performance is an opportunity for junior singers to appear for the first time in a major work in front of a big audience.
from the beginning. For young singers who are singing with an orchestra and in front of 3,000 people and with the nerves thrown in as well, it's extremely difficult.
Ben has a lot riding on this. His voice has matured, and if he's ever going to make singing his career, he must start getting some major engagements. Messiah could be his big break, but combining good technique and connecting with an audience is difficult.
Keeping that high, keep it high, will you? Keep the lift in it because you're doing the bow and then dropping halfway through.
There are simple technical issues which I have to just keep focusing on, and as soon as I stop focusing on them, they fall apart. So that's sort of the challenge. But then if you concentrate on the technique and don't say anything emotional, then you needn't bother. You may as well just go home because an audience will hate it.
At 30 and with a young family, Ben has responsibilities. Most of his friends are professionals with high incomes, but he's sacrificed all of that to be a singer.
In terms of money, I'm continually amazed at my wife's support of me, you know. So we've taken a cut on my career earnings continually ever since we've been married, and that's amazing and wonderful. A great support of me, and hopefully will pay off.
You wipe this down with a finger.
Or can I use this flannel?
You can use that flannel.
But in 3 to 5 years, I'm going to be singing professionally in Europe in opera. That's the intention.
Here we go. This is it. See if you can get something right. You're breathing in.
Clive Pascoe is an accomplished international conductor. He studied music in England and the United States and taught in a number of universities. After 3 years' break, Clive has returned to conduct Messiah for the 28th time.
All I can say about myself is that I have no other memory than wanting to be a musician. I don't know where it came from, really. I just loved it. I love the sound, I love the feel of it, I like the social interaction that comes from music making. And as a teacher for many years also, that's where pleasure came. It came from sharing that love. Which part of Messiah do you like? Because you're going to put it onto your CD, aren't we?
Clive is now semi-retired and lives with his wife Shirley on the far north coast of New South Wales. He commutes the 900 kilometres to Sydney every week to lead Messiah rehearsals.
Messiah continues to amaze me because over 44 years, I would expect that I could say, I know it. And every year, I find new things. It follows the chronology, more or less, as set out in the Bible, as the foreshadowing, the prophesying of the coming of a saviour. By always talking about a Messiah, a saving figure, it keeps this sort of intrigue and mystery. Who is this person? And they're all asking this question. And the Lord of Hosts comes through. There's an answer. The mighty God.
At 90, Reg Hinks is one of the oldest members of the choir. For Reg, the story of Christ in Handel's Messiah resonates deeply with his Christian faith.
It expresses more than the way you feel, your belief. It is your belief that's coming out into the open. Not to shout, but to sing. And when that comes out, that's a very powerful thing. You live the part. That's the way, anyhow, that I go through each Messiah that I've sung. And I've sung a good many now, and I'll sing a good many more. So you go very, very fast if you don't alter the rudder. You get yourself fixed. No.
Singing in the choir is just one way that Reg makes a difference in the community. His other passion is working as a volunteer for Sailability, an organisation that gives disabled people a chance to do something out of the ordinary.
The greatest experience I have of instantaneous joy is one of the kids that was down here in one of these boats put his hand in the water as we were going along. I tell you what, that was an experience that's stuck in my memory, to hear the joyful sound that came from the kid that probably wouldn't express it any other way.
The sailing was fantastic, and Reg was good. He gets a certificate after this, a few chocolates, and After this, he might get a few jelly beans when he's been good.
Again, same, 3 and 4.
For Reg, the joy he gets from community involvement is also part of the attraction of singing in Messiah.
You're giving something. When you're singing in a choir, you're giving. And when you're giving, the giver gets a better reward than the receiver.
1, 2. Again, rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Contributing to the community is also one of the great rewards of this performance for Clive.
I think I'm rewarded partly by the fact that this is charity. It is to raise funds for the less advantaged and so on in the community. It probably all helps in building this spirit of Christmas, which is a time of sharing and caring and not exploiting the commercial advantage.
Ben Looms is about to go into his first rehearsal with Clive, and he's anxious. He's heard Clive can be very demanding and critical.
This is a fairly important moment for me as a soloist. I want to create a great impression with the conductor. I want to develop a really good rapport with him, and I want to create a relationship that'll help me to sing well on the night. I think I also want to impress him. I want more work. I want more opportunities from this, so I really want it to go well. Every valley...
It's got magic in it, looking up a bit.
Every valley shall be exalted.
Got the idea?
Shall be...
The piano rehearsal is usually the first time we've worked together, and therefore a fair bit of the time is about getting to know each other, what the style is, exactly what it is I'm looking for. I have to take into account very quickly what they're capable of doing, because obviously, let's say if they can't do something, then I've got to adjust.
Shake their heads.
Say. You get the chord there. Boom. Say. On the 4th beat.
Fundamentally, it's by whatever means of coercion or beating them over the head or praise or whatever, getting them to do what you want.
All they that see him laugh him to scorn.
Okay, now I'm pushing the tempo.
At the end of their hour together, Ben is relieved.
I think I did all right. I was a bit disappointed to be so tight at the beginning of it. You know, I wasn't really happy with the tone at the beginning, but I think as I went on, I got a bit more relaxed. I loved his direct approach to the text. I loved that he didn't want to be pompous or bombastic about the text and directing it to... He suggested I direct it to a child, and that's such a great idea. So if I direct it to my 3-year-old and don't try and patronise him, I think that's a fabulous idea, and I really loved what he said about that.
I'm very impressed with Ben's work. I have real high hopes for that. What he's got to do, and what you'll will hear happening, is to ease back a lot. He's come into it thinking it's a great big gig, big audience, major work, and he's got to give it absolutely his big shot, you know, and his big shot's got to be gentle, calm, relaxed, and as he said, just like singing to my 3-year-old son.
This is we call it the dress rehearsal. Final moment, trying to bring all the bits together. It's usually a disaster because everyone's getting used to each other. The choir's getting used to the orchestra, and the orchestra's getting used to the organ, and so on and so forth. But it's fun. We're going to be exhausted in about 3 hours, but if we get it right, then the first concert's going to be great. Here we go. This is the first beat. It's a silent beat. And 1... That was it. Again. 1.
But thou didst not leave his soul in hell.
One breath. Okay. Solo entry. Pick up to A. 3,
For Ben,
4.
the lead up to this crucial final rehearsal has not been easy. A few days ago, His grandfather died suddenly.
Today, unfortunately, I went to my pa's funeral, which wasn't an ideal preparation. Though today I sang a bit of this at the funeral. When you die, the struggle is over. The struggle of this world is finished, and peace is found, and that's exactly what Comfort Ye says. Pa's death has definitely given me a spiritual point to the music, and I guess that'll add more depth to my performance tonight, that's for sure, and hopefully on the real night. Strong!
The final rehearsal has been demanding, but it's gone well. In a few days, the 700 members of the choir will do it all again in front of a large audience. And Clive Pascoe is still uncertain how they'll go.
Tonight was real, but it wasn't real like Thursday is real. And if we made a mistake tonight, I could stop and stamp and shout and laugh or something. If a mistake happens on Thursday, we've got to internalise it instantly and get on. So that's the deal. Thursday we'll have a lot of surprises.
This is it. I'm going into the Messiah Town Hall, singing the tenor solo. It's probably the biggest audience I've sung in front of, and the stakes are pretty high for me. I hope that this is it. This is going to be a thing that a lot of people are going to see. It's going to be a great thing to have on my resume, and a bit of a kickstart for my career. It needs to happen.
Watch me the whole time. The whole time. I need your eyes on me. Building up to any performance has got its uncertainties, because you never know. The human factor, you know. I mean, are people feeling up to it tonight? Is a storm gone through? Anything could happen. So I never take it for granted, ever. Fingers crossed and stuff, always. Mistakes can happen. It's nerves. I was just talking to the soloist a few minutes ago. Everyone's nervous.
You'd have to be a complete idiot if you didn't feel nervous in this sort of situation. And I think the day I don't feel nervous, I'll give up.
Okay, ready to go.
Okay.
Now.
Good luck. Break a leg.
Break a leg, yes. Any second now, the bells will ring and I'll have to march up onto stage, and whatever will be, will be. Well, it's out of my hands now.
I'm thrilled. It went well. Maybe I'll sing it better sometimes, some bits, but I'm very, very, very happy. And I loved the performance. I thought the performance was incredible. The choirs just blew my mind. There's definitely something in this believing it when you sing it thing. It was incredible. I had a bit of a revelation sitting there with my eyes closed. I realised I've always wondered what angels' voices would be like, and I really have decided that angels' voices sound like human voices, because that's what God gave to humans, as angels' voices.
Tonight, it went really well. Clive was very, very pleased. It was a great performance.
I said awesome, and he said, yep.
Yes, he agreed with us. He said it was awesome. So yes. It was tops.
I thought it was tremendous. What do the young people call it? Great. I thought it was really good.
Well, Handel's done it again. He's done it again. A miraculous piece of music. People who, in one sense can't read music or whatever, they make an exciting performance. I just think they're a wonderful group of people. They've given absolutely everything they had tonight. Before I started, I had hoped, you say, I hope it'll go and I hope it'll all come together. And then they do it. I couldn't ask more. I'm thrilled.
What about the Hallelujah chorus? Wasn't it just something amazing? Well, you just, wow, it worked.